for you.
Breaking now at 6 o'clock, a short police chase on the east side of Indianapolis ends in a deadly crash. What investigators are telling us about the fiery end to this pursuit.
And IMPD also investigating a shooting that sent 2 people to the hospital early this morning. What police are saying happened just before shots were fired.
And when the weather is warm, there's nothing quite like the great outdoors. Just ahead, the important information you need to know before you go camping this summer. It is 6 o'clock on your Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Meredith Barrett.
And I'm Nicole Griffin. Storm Team 6 meteorologist Todd Clausen here. Todd, I sat outside for like 40 minutes yesterday and it was so hot. I couldn't stand it any longer.
Yeah,
but I was happy for the sun.
I was outside at the golf outing yesterday for hours.
You know what?
Felt great.
You were probably in the shade.
Oh, there's no shade.
I'm just kidding.
Go check out his Twitter. He did have a good outfit on.
Hey,
nice big straw hat, a hula skirt.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a must-see pick.
When it's for a good cause.
You'll do it.
You can get dressed up. It's on my Facebook page, and on Twitter, all right outside right now. We are talking about temperatures in the 60s and 70s across the area. 72 in Muncie, 71 in Indy, 65 in Crawfordsville. So it's a mild start. These temperatures aren't actually really too far off from normal across the area. Here's the view from downtown to the north. So yesterday morning, we had all that sunshine right off the bat. Today, there's a lot more in the way of cloud cover, as you can see around the area. That's because we have 2 little weak systems, one to our north, with some showers that are fading away here in Peru and Monticello. And then down to the south, there's also a storm system that stays to our south, but we're kind of in between. And that's why we have a little bit of cloud cover. So it's going to take a little while to thin the clouds out this morning, but we should get there. Partly cloudy skies. There's a chance of an isolated storm flaring up later on this afternoon with a high temperature once again back into the upper 80s. Elena.
All right. Thank you, Todd. You can see traffic's beginning to pick up on this northwest side. I-465 at I-865. There's some overnight road work that's underway. We also have a crash that's up towards that area as well. Let's take a look at the map. I've been telling you about it all morning long. The good news, it's only one lane that's blocked on this northbound 465 ramp to westbound I-865. So just keep it in mind if it's part of your drive, because as we know, those northbound lanes of I-65 are closed between 465 and I-865, and that is the detour route that you're going to want to take. So plan ahead, leave earlier than you typically would if this is part of your drive.
Elena, thank you. We're following breaking news this morning from the city's east side.
That's where Metro Police say a chase ended in a deadly crash.
Our Alyssa Donovan is live at IMPD headquarters. Alyssa, what do we know about this chase?
So, Meredith, what we know is Metro Police tell us that this crash, or this chase rather, started at 21st and Sherman. That's where a police officer witnessed an erratic driver. They tell us that that officer saw this driver crossing over the center line and high speed going through red lights. So that officer decided to ensue a chase, but it didn't last very long. The officer says the chase only lasted about half a minute before the suspect crashed into a power pole at 21st and Dearborn. The impact of the crash caused the car and the power pole to catch fire. The officers started to drive up to that vehicle, but power lines came down and began sparking on the ground. There was also live ammunition going off inside of the car, which forced the officer to take cover. Now, firefighters were called to the scene as well as utility crews to restore that power pole. Now, police tell us this situation was very dynamic. That's how they described it. They say it was dangerous not only for their officers, but the entire neighborhood that surrounded this intersection. They do say they only believe that one driver was inside the vehicle, and they say that suspect passed away at the scene. They have not identified that person. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. At just about the same time, Metro Police were investigating a shooting on the city's northeast side. That's where 2 people are recovering after being shot near 25th and Gale. This scene unfolded around 12:30 this morning. We're told a man and a woman were shot inside a home in the area. They were both taken to Eskenazi Hospital in stable condition. No word this morning on a search for a suspect.
Many people will leave central Indiana to visit the beach this summer, but before you do, a local mother is sharing a warning after doctors diagnosed her daughter with a deadly disease. 12-year-old Kylie contracted a flesh-eating bacteria after wading in the ocean while the family vacationed in Florida last month. She had an open wound when she went in the water. Kylie's mom, Michelle Brown, says her daughter could barely walk after getting the infection. She almost lost her leg and her life.
They were taking her into emergency surgery to try and remove the infection from her leg. And doing that, they were trying to save her leg. But not only trying to save her leg, they were also trying to save her.
We spoke to a doctor who treated Kylie at Riley Hospital for Children.
Luckily for Kylie, her infection and her diagnosis was made on the ideal time. So we were able to, the surgery team, the orthopedic surgery team, along with the ICU team, were able to save her extremities, cure her infection, and that's a big win-win.
Kylie is now back at home. She still cannot walk, but after several surgeries and months of therapy, she is expected to make a full recovery.
If you get a call from a cable company offering you a great deal, make sure it's the real thing before paying up. A Beech Grove woman is sharing her story with RTV6 after criminals pretending to be AT&T tried to steal her money. Beverly Rogers says the caller offered to lower her cable bill to $60 per month for 2 years. She became suspicious after the alleged representative said the company was partnering with eBay for the offer and she would have to pay her bill using eBay gift cards. The Better Business Bureau says requesting any form of unusual payment is the #1 red flag. Something is a scam.
Today, Cathedral High School graduates and students plan to hold a public demonstration against the school's decision to fire a teacher in a same-sex marriage. Students and parents tell RTV6 the school's explanation for firing the teacher has been confusing. We're working for you to get answers, taking a closer look at the issue. In a public letter posted on the school's website, Cathedral's board of directors says it had to fire the teacher under the direction of the Archdiocese, or it could lose its title as a Catholic school and could no longer operate as a nonprofit organization. RTV6 pulled state records and found Cathedral has been incorporated as a nonprofit since 1972, a distinction held by the school itself, not the Archdiocese. Robert Katz, a professor at IU School of Law, tells RTV6 if Cathedral already has its own nonprofit status, then the dilemma described in the letter is not accurate.
It's that time of year to enjoy the great outdoors, so what better way than camping? Our Aaron Lish is live this morning with advice from the Scouts on how you can ensure a safe and healthy camping trip. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning. So we are here at Camp Belzer, where all of the Scouts come to learn a little bit more about nature. And what's fun about June is it's National Camping Month. So we asked those Scouts, what's their biggest piece of advice? So the first thing you have to do is talk to people around you and tell them where you're going when you're going camping, that exact location, and when you plan to get back home. The next step is to find your camping site. Make sure that you're finding an open area without any of those low-hanging branches. And then, of course, the food. Make sure that you have all that food in tight containers. Keep them insulated away from any wildlife. And then when you want to cook, make sure that you are cooking at a proper temperature, avoiding food poisoning. You're seeing the Scouts cooking with Dutch ovens. That's a great way to make food, but they can reach temps of more than 400 degrees. So bring safety gloves and make sure kids don't play around this area. And those who are helping with the Scouts tell us the importance of building small fires and never leaving them unattended.
I remember the first time we went camping, you have this mound and you have this fire going and you forget about it. And you have to remember to disperse it. A lot of times we'll have emergency measures like a bucket of sand that's close or water, some way to put it out if it gets too big or the volume's too big.
He adds, make sure to drown all the embers, not just the red ones, before you leave the site and before you go to bed. And the regulated distance between your campfire and your tent is about this far from me to the camera, about 10 to 15 feet. We're going to have a little bit more coming up in the next half hour, but for now, back to you in the studio.
Aaron, thank you. Many families are in favor of the expanded IPS pilot program, encouraging students to ride Indigo buses to and from school. We first told you about the program yesterday. Students will get free fare cards and unlimited access during the school year. The pilot program started for students at Shortridge High School last year. The service is now available to all IPS high school students. The goal is to lower the district's transportation budget. It is 6:09, and Todd, if anyone is heading out this morning to work, they are going to feel that heat when they step out the door.
Yeah, as soon as you walk out, have that mugginess out there. The temperatures are currently sitting in the 60s and 70s. We have a little bit of cloud cover out there as well, and that's the big difference, at least from this morning compared to yesterday morning when we had that bright blue sky. A few showers up here that are basically fading away. These started actually near the Chicago area and then been sinking to the south, and you notice there's a sprinkler or two up near Monticello as well as Logansport and Peru, and that is just about it. We have some more storms to our south. They will continue to move to the south, but the combination is leaving us with a little bit of cloud cover this morning. So as you grab that cup of coffee and you walk out the door, temperatures will be in the 70s here with mostly cloudy skies, and then eventually this afternoon we're looking at high temperatures in the mid to upper 80s with partly cloudy skies and just a small chance of an isolated downpour flaring up later on this afternoon. More on that and a look ahead to your weekend forecast coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Our Hiring Hoosiers initiative is dedicated to helping you land the job. Just after the break, our career coach is highlighting just how important it is to network with everyone you meet. It's 6:11. We'll be right back.
00. We look forward to serving you at Barrington Jewels.
Every Thursday, our Hiring Hoosiers career coaches seek to empower with your job search.
It's just one of the many ways our Hiring Hoosiers initiative helps to connect you to the right job. Today, our coach is looking at the benefits of networking everywhere you go with everybody you meet.
Network. A network is get to know people. I personally believed a long time ago that it's not what you know, it's who you know. So get to know people. Everybody that's around you, friends, family, heck, even people sitting beside you on an airplane or a car or at the bus stop. Get to know them. Ask them, what do they do? What are they into? What's their drive? Who do they work for? What business do they run? If they're a business owner, if they manage a business, get to know them, because that's where you open doors to find those capabilities. And you're right, just because you walk up to the first person and say, hey, I'd love to do what you're doing, they may say, hey, sorry, I don't have an opening, or sorry, I'm the only one who does that right now. But try to find others. Hey, do you know somebody else who does that? Do you know of another company like that? Do you have anybody in your network who's looking for somebody like you that's on the ground floor? That's the idea, is to network and go after people, as many as possible.
We do want to thank our guest career coach, Ben Reitzman, with the Battery Innovation Center. You can find that story along with all of our other Hiring Hoosiers stories right now on our website, hiringhoosiers.com. And be sure to join us tomorrow on Hiring Hoosiers as we look at a program connecting the passions of young adults to the workforce. Round 2 of the Democratic presidential debate is tonight. 4 of the top 5 polling candidates, including former Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Bernie Sanders, will take the stage in Miami. In last night's first round, topics ranged from health care to immigration and from guns to tensions with Iran. Some common ground was found when the candidates were asked what they think is the greatest geopolitical threat to the U.S. right now.
The biggest geopolitical challenge is China, but the biggest geopolitical threat remains nuclear weapons.
The biggest threat to the security of the United States is Donald Trump, and there's no question.
The greatest threat that we face is the fact that we are at a greater risk of nuclear war today than ever before in history.
Senator
Two threats, economic threat, China, but our major threat right now is what's going on in the Mideast with Iran.
Our existential threat is climate change. We have to confront it before it's too late. Senator Warner.
Climate change.
Yeah, Senator Booker.
Nuclear proliferation and climate change.
Secretary Castro.
Say China and climate change.
Congressman Ryan.
China, without a question.
Russia, because they're trying to undermine our democracy.
President Trump, who is running for a second term, was watching. The president characterized the event in a one-word tweet, calling it, quote, boring.
President Trump will land shortly in Japan for the G20 summit, which kicks off tomorrow in Osaka. Trump is set to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin on the sidelines of the summit this weekend. Reporters asked if he'll bring up Russia election meddling with Putin. He responded by saying, quote, what I say to him is none of your business. This will be the first time Trump and Putin have seen each other since special counsel Robert Mueller finished his Russia investigation. Trump will also meet with the heads of several other countries, including China. Investors are hoping for some positive developments on the ongoing U.S.-China trade war.
Federal regulators say they've found a new problem that could further delay the return of Boeing 737 MAX jets. They've been grounded since March following 2 crashes that killed 346 people. During a series of simulator test flights, the FAA uncovered a computer flaw. The flaw could slow down a pilot's ability to recover from a scenario like the one seen in crashes overseas. United Airlines says it will keep Boeing 737 MAX planes grounded until at least September 3rd. It is 6:17, and Todd, I'm thinking it's another good pool day.
It is a good pool day here throughout the day today, and really we have a bunch of big time pool days coming up and lake days for the weekend, as well as the summer heat and humidity really building in now for the foreseeable future, it looks like. And with the heat and humidity will come a daily chance of storms, but we're not talking about these big gully washers that are going to be coming through with these big waves. It's just going to be the pop-up kind as we get into the peak heating of the day. So here's the view from downtown to the north, and there's a little more in the way of cloud cover this morning. A few peaks of sunshine out there, but it's not as bright as it was yesterday morning when we started off completely sunny. 71's the current temperature. The wind is calm, and we have sunset this evening at 9:17. So keep that in mind if you have plans later on this evening. So 60s and 70s across the area. 67 in Greencastle, Bloomington at 69 degrees, and temperatures today will climb pretty quickly, even with the cloud cover initially here this morning. We'll start to burn that off and get into the sunshine pretty quickly. 82 degrees by the noon hour with high temperatures today, eventually topping off in the upper 80s across the entire area. So we've had these showers in northern Indiana. They're fading away. Some more storms down to the south. And again, we just have some clouds around. But the sun will help to burn some of this cloud cover off. It's not going to be as completely cloud-free as it was yesterday morning. And then yesterday afternoon, we built in a few fair weather clouds. But again, these clouds thin out. We'll call it partly cloudy this afternoon. But we do have to be on the lookout for an isolated downpour or two to flare up as we get into the peak heating of the day. On TrueCast here, you notice one near Cincinnati, another one kind of hidden right behind Indianapolis. Don't think so much of the placement that that's where it's going to rain, and that's not what it's going to rain. This is just kind of generally showing you what's on our horizon, and that the fact that there could be a downpour flaring up really anywhere across central Indiana as we go into the afternoon hours. If you did see that downpour, it's brief heavy rain, a little bit of lightning, nothing severe expected here today. For the Indians game tonight, 7:05 first pitch here at Victory Field. Should be a great night for baseball, starting off in the mid-80s, falling into the 70s with partly cloudy skies. And then for the day tomorrow, we repeat it all over again. Highs in the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees. The spot storm chance in the afternoon, but nothing major. Otherwise, plenty of sunshine in the forecast. And then we just carry that over, honestly, into the weekend. Today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, all going to be very, very similar, with the exception of probably a little more in the way of sunshine heading into the weekend. 90 degrees, though, both Saturday and Sunday, and just about a 20% chance of an isolated downpour flaring up during the peak heating of the day. Better storm chances will arrive as we get into next week, but there's a lot of sunshine, a lot of heat, and a lot of humidity, Elaine, in this 7-day planning forecast.
All right, thank you, Todd. Here's a look up on the northwest side. This has been our trouble spot all day this morning. So right now, you can see traffic is slowly moving through. There's an overturned semi on the ramp from northbound I-465 to westbound I-865, and this is also a detour route. So traffic is getting pretty heavy up in this area. Let's take a look at the map. So as I just mentioned, that one lane blocked northbound 465, that ramp to I-865, and then we also have this closure of northbound I-65 between 465 and 865. Your detour route is right along where that crash is. So northbound 465 to 865 westbound, and traffic is backed up all the way past 86th Street. So it's a pretty big backup we've got building. If you want to avoid any delays, you can always exit at that 86th Street exit. Head over westbound to northbound State Road 267. Head northbound on State Road 267. That'll get you back to northbound I-65. So just keep that in mind if it's part of your drive. Traffic is moving very slowly, so you're going to expect some delays today.
Elena, thank you. A new partnership is behind a new way to get news and information beginning this morning. It's also a great way to share more details about hiring Hoosiers.
You're giving people and showing people not just jobs, you're showing them careers.
This project in my 21 years is really one that I will always be proud of because it's about people.
Our partnership with Radio 1 officially begins this morning on Good Morning Indiana. RTV6 will kick off news and weather reports on the Tom Joyner Show, which airs on WTLC 106.7. Those news updates will run from 6:25 through 8:25 Monday through Friday.
I love the way you give opportunities to people. Doesn't matter if you have a college degree. Doesn't matter if you went to some school. Doesn't matter if you have a high school degree. You're offering opportunities to people that are careers for their family for lifetimes. And I'm very excited for our audiences to become part of that.
WTLC in particular is celebrating more than 50 years of serving Indianapolis listeners.
And in case you haven't heard, ABC's Shark Tank is coming to Indianapolis. You can pitch your idea to producers at an open call on July 16th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Doors open at 6 a.m. For more information, go to theindychannel.com.
Still celebrating that Indy 500 victory. We'll show you the reveal for Simon Pagenaud as they prepare to add his face to the Borg Warner Trophy. That's coming up.
American Home Shield.
The U.S. men's national team may not have made the World Cup last year, but they are starting the rebound process in style. The team is competing in the Gold Cup right now. Last night was the third game of the group stage. Both Team USA and Panama had already secured their spots in the next round before the match started. There wasn't much action, but Team USA scored a dramatic goal midway through the second half to earn the 1-0 victory. Now they advance to the knockout stage with a matchup against Curacao. That game is set for Sunday night.
And the U.S. women's national team will be looking to advance to the semifinals tomorrow in the World Cup. It will be a tough task as they take on the host country of France. Team USA has only given up 1 goal in the first 4 games of the World Cup. They were able to get past Spain on Monday to secure their spot in the quarterfinals. Tomorrow's game against France is set to kick off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Paris.
It's been 1 month since the 103rd running of the Indianapolis 500, and you can bet the Simon Pagenaud is still celebrating that big victory. The process is currently underway to get Simon's face added to the Borg Warner Trophy. As you can see here, the sculpting process is already coming along nicely. After making this life-size version of Simon's face, the artist will then shrink down the version until it's the right size for the Borg Warner Trophy. Oh my goodness, that is too funny.
I like the side-by-side.
He's flipping it back. Looks pretty good, though.
I wonder if the sculptors have ever had one of the drivers come in and say, that's what I look like, or I don't really think that looks like me. You know,
it happens with the wax
my nose
figures.
looks, like my nose looks a little big, or
I'm sure.
I'm sure somebody's
like
complained at some point, but probably not when the camera's on, I bet you.
Yeah.
All right, outside right now we're dealing with decent conditions. Skies are partly to mostly cloudy. We'll thin the clouds out that are out there currently, and turn to partly cloudy throughout the morning. We warm up quick, 84 degrees already by the noon hour. High temperatures today topping off anywhere from about 88 to 90 degrees across the area, which is the chance of an isolated storm. Time now 6:27. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Sleep Number, proven quality sleep. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Breaking this morning, an overnight police chase on the city's east side ends with the death of the person being chased. Coming up, a live report on why officers on the scene were forced to take cover.
Bulldozers tearing down tents and hauling away belongings at a homeless camp along the White River. Why city leaders say it's an effort that will ultimately keep people safe.
And when the weather is warm, there's nothing quite like the great outdoors. Just ahead, the important information you need to know before you go camping this summer. Thanks for starting your morning with us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Nicole Griffin.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Meteorologist Todd Clausen joining us here with more hot weather.
Yeah, you know, everybody was asking, where's summer? Where's summer through June with the cooler temperatures and the rain? Well, it's here, and it's here to stay for a little while. So this morning, a little more in the way of cloud cover out there than we saw yesterday morning for your commute. I kind of want to put the two mornings side by side. But sunglasses needed here. We'll thin these clouds out, and we'll have plenty of sunshine today. And your outdoor workout is good to go. Probably maybe a little better this morning compared to later on this afternoon when we start to build in the heat across the area. And radar is pretty quiet right now. There's been a few isolated little rain showers up to the north throughout the morning hours and even overnight hours, but they're fading away. But from Lafayette to Monticello, don't be shocked if you see a sprinkler too. Same as you work your way from Peru over towards the Marion area. And you can see the clouds that are in place across the area, but the sun will start to burn those off here throughout the morning hours, and temperatures will start to warm pretty quickly. We're at 71 right now in Indianapolis. We should be pushing into the low 80s as we get into the noon hour, and then high temperatures this afternoon anywhere from about 85 to 90 degrees. Elena?
All right, thank you, Todd. Up on our northwest side, a lot of problems for your morning drive, so pay attention if you do head this way. Normally, one lane blocked because of a crash on the northbound 465 ramp to westbound I-865. Now, keep in mind, northbound 65 is closed between 465 and I-865, so that detour route is right along where you're going to need to go, where that crash is blocking that ramp. So the detour, 465 northbound to 865 westbound. Let's take a look at the backup that's building right now. So this is already 465 right around West 86th Street. You can see traffic is backed up all the way past that. So it's going to be quite the mess if you are heading to Boone County this morning for your morning drive.
Thank you. We continue to follow breaking news this morning on the city's east side.
That's where Metro Police say a chase ended in a deadly crash. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning outside IMPD headquarters. Alyssa, what started this chase in the first place?
So, Meredith, Metro Police tell us that shortly after midnight, one of their East Side District officers witnessed a driver that was driving erratically. This was right around 21st and Sherman. The officer reports that driver was speeding through red lights as well as crossing over the center line. The officer says he was concerned about public safety, so he decided to go in pursuit of this person and did turn on his lights and sirens in the process. However, that chase was very short-lived. It only lasted about half a minute before the driver crashed their black Chevy into a power pole at 21st and Dearborn. The impact of the crash caused the car and the power pole to catch fire. The officer started to drive up to the vehicle, but power lines came down in front of him and began sparking on the ground. There was also live ammunition going off inside of the car, forcing the officer to take cover. Firefighters were called to the scene and utility crews to restore the power pole. Now, police say this situation was very dangerous for not only their officers that were involved, but the neighborhood surrounding this intersection. They described it as a very dynamic scene with all of the different things that were going on. Now, we do know that they believe only that suspect, the driver, was in the car at the time of the crash. They say that driver did die at the scene. They have not come up with an identification for that person yet, but they are considering, and they are unsure at this point if this is attached to a shooting that happened earlier in the evening nearby. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. More breaking news, this time from the city's northeast side. 2 people are in the hospital after being shot near 25th and Gale. This scene unfolded just west of Sherman Drive around 12:30 this morning. Police are releasing very little information right now about what happened. We do know a man and a woman were shot inside a home in the area. They were both taken to Eskenazi Hospital in stable condition. The investigation will continue today.
Bulldozers tearing down tents and hauling away belongings at this homeless camp along the White River. Indianapolis leaders say it's part of a necessary cleanup operation. Officials say the shelters, along with trash buildup and illegal dumping, are a threat to the levee, an essential flood protection structure for the city. People who live there say they understand why it was necessary, but they say it could have been handled in a different way.
Just like at your house, you're going to clean your yard, you're going to take care of your trash, you ain't going to leave it just sitting. Yeah. But they could have went about it another way. We could have helped clean it up.
A city spokeswoman says people living there were given 2 weeks' notice. She says they were also given storage and shelter options. The city has undertaken an initiative to raise $4 million to sustain permanent housing for people experiencing homelessness.
The path that we have embarked on as a city with a housing first strategy and permanent supportive housing is a long-term strategy that I think will pay dividends as it relates to those who find themselves chronically homeless.
Last month, the city started a program that pays people experiencing homelessness about $10 an hour to pick up trash in the downtown area. Participants told RTV6 it has given them a positive outlook for the future. It is 6:36, and you know what sounds good right now? graham crackers, marshmallows, and a bar of chocolate, because there's nothing quite like s'mores by the campfire.
And when you enjoy those treats, there is some important safety information that you need to think about. Our Aaron Lish is live at Belzer Scout Camp with tips to make sure you have a fun and safe camping experience. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning. So there's about 78 million families out in the U.S. who are camping, and maybe you are one of them or you want to become one of them. So we talked to a couple scouts, and they have a few things that you should know. So when you are building that fire and getting that campsite ready, there's going to be some bugs out. So make sure that you have some repellent and check for ticks daily. And when you do get back home, put your clothes in the dryer for about 10 minutes to kill any of those ticks that might come home with you. And scouts, they will be using Dutch ovens here to cook a variety of meals. So if you are handling raw meat, make sure that you're washing your hands so you don't get sick. And then be prepared when you leave home. Have a checklist ready to go. Have anything that you need. If you have allergies, bring your EpiPen and any medication needed. Scouts, make sure that you have a first aid kit.
To have that first aid kit, that's something we really push in Scouts, and it's part of every experience. And you could have a basic first aid kit that you take with you in case there's a cut or a bleed, or I have 5 children, a mosquito sting, or whatever emergency arises. That way you have it ahead of time and you can prepare for it.
Your kit should have 3 to 5 days worth of water so you stay hydrated on your camping adventures. And another big thing that they teach with the Scouts is pay attention to the weather. If it does get bad out, try to seek some shelter and stay away from trees. And with all of this great weather we've been having, Todd, what's it going to look for us today if we decide to go camping?
Yeah, you're heading out camping today, maybe getting an early start on the weekend. You're in great shape. There's just a very, very small chance of an isolated downpour this afternoon, but the bigger weather story, if you are heading out and about, it's going to be the heat and humidity over the next few days. As you get ready to head out to work, you got to walk the dog here before you head off to work. Our featured dog of the day is Joey. Looks content there on the couch with his toy, and Joey's sent in by Robin. So thanks to Robin for sending Joey in to us, and you could send your pictures into my Facebook page, Todd Closton at RTV6. Green paws here throughout the day today. I contemplated putting red paws in as we get towards the heat of the day. So just know that if you need water, your dog needs water as well as we work our way into these summer months. Make sure both you and your pets stay hydrated. As far as today, we have some clouds out there currently across the area. There are a few spotty showers to the north. These clouds will start to thin out. We'll call it partly cloudy today. Highs in the upper 80s to near 90 degrees in locations to the north today. Same as locations to the south, around 89 in Bloomington as well as Seymour. 89 as well here in Indianapolis. So again, stay hydrated. Use the sunscreen if you're going to be out and about. We'll talk more about the weekend forecast coming up.
Todd, thank you. Is Cathedral High School telling the whole truth? Next, as alumni prepare to protest the firing of a teacher, RTV6 is investigating the school's explanation for that firing.
And we will climb into our time machine for Throwback Thursday. It's another tribute to an RTV6 legend ahead of his retirement as he looks at how much money you'd be out simply trying to have a snack at the movies. It's 6:40. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. We'll be right back.
Let's try it. Fast foodies know the deal.
This afternoon, Cathedral High School graduates and students plan to hold a public demonstration against the school's decision to fire a teacher in a same-sex marriage.
We're working for you to find out more about the school's explanation for the firing, which some have been questioning. Cathedral's board of directors says it had to fire the teacher at the direction of the archdiocese, or it could lose its title as a Catholic school and could no longer operate as a nonprofit. But RTV6 pulled state records and found Cathedral has been incorporated as a nonprofit since 1972, a distinction held by the school itself, not the archdiocese. An IU law professor tells us if Cathedral already had its own nonprofit status, the dilemma described in the letter is not accurate.
That's just not correct. They are a nonprofit organization. They get their nonprofit status from the state of Indiana, which issues them articles of incorporation. And that's separate and apart from their tax-exempt status, which comes from the IRS.
Kat says because Cathedral is already a certified nonprofit, the school does not necessarily need the archdiocese to get the tax exemption known as 501c3. For more details on this complicated issue, go to the RTV6 app and click on this story.
It will be round 2 of the first Democratic presidential debate tonight in Miami. Among the 10 candidates on stage tonight will be South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Buttigieg has mostly been off the campaign trail ever since a black man was killed by a white South Bend police officer back on June 16th. Tonight, he'll be joined by some of the other top-tier Democratic candidates, including Senator Bernie Sanders and former Vice President Joe Biden. It is 6:44 right now, and all we've been able to talk about is how hot it is outside, Todd.
Yeah, you know, it's warm when you walk out the door. You think back to just a few weeks ago, we had a couple mornings that we were down in the 40s in June. Not the case here this morning, as we're in the 60s and 70s. We have a little bit of cloud cover to start our day, but you notice a few peaks of sunshine and breaks in the clouds, and those breaks will get larger and larger here as the morning goes on, and overall it's a partly cloudy day for us. 71 degrees. That's the current temperature. The wind is calm. Sunrise has already happened. Sunset this evening is at 9:17. If you do have plans on this Thursday evening to be out and about, and here are those temperatures. Warm spot Muncie at 72, 71 in Indy, 69 in Bloomington. The cool spot 65 degrees this morning over in the Crawfordsville area. So throughout the day today, we'll warm the temperatures pretty quickly across the area into the mid to upper 80s. So it's another warm day. And if you want to kind of compare it to yesterday, temperature-wise, we should be in the same ballpark. Humidity-wise, same ballpark. The difference is going to be a little more in the way of cloud cover here throughout the day today, and a little better chance of maybe a spot storm flaring up as we work our way into the afternoon hours and the peak heating of the day. So we're just kind of sandwiched between two systems. You notice those showers in northern Indiana that continue to fade away, so there could be a sprinkle up towards Lafayette this morning. Nothing more than that, and then there's storms down to the south, and just in between there we have a lot of clouds, and that's what we're dealing with this morning, but those will start to fade away here across the area as we work our way into the course of the evening hours. And then as we work our way into the afternoon, there could be an isolated downpour or two that'll pop up here across the area. So rain chances aren't completely zero here throughout the day today, but most of us will just have the chance of maybe a stray shower, and that's just about it. And certainly do not work your plans around the storm chance here across central Indiana. The bigger story is going to be the heat and also the humidity. So today we're up into the mid-80s. Tomorrow, probably a little more in the way of sunshine, and as a result, it's probably a little bit warmer tomorrow as we're looking at temperatures anywhere from about 85 to 90 degrees, with more 90s probably likely in southern locations to round out our work week on Friday. And then honestly, we just carry it right over into the weekend as well. Both Saturday and Sunday, high temperatures are right around 90 degrees with just about a 20% chance of an isolated storm. So really, storm chances from today all the way through the weekend revolve around an isolated downpour here or there throughout the peak heating of the day. There's nothing going to be very widespread. There's no big front coming through that's going to give us severe weather. And if you do see one of these spotty storms, it is just going to be some heavy rain and a little bit of lightning, and that is just about it. Monday is still really hot at 90 degrees. And then as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, that's when things start to change a little bit. It's a little bit cooler, but better storm chances enter the forecast as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. But overall, this is a very summer-like 7-day planning forecast with lows right around 70 degrees, highs right around 90 degrees until we get to the middle of next week. Elena?
All right, thank you, Todd. Not too much happening on the roadways except for up in this northwest side. A lot of problems up there. So the left lane blocked northbound 465 ramp to I-865. I've been telling you about it all morning long. The good news is it is down to only one lane being blocked for this rush hour, but you are going to want to keep in mind that it's part of the detour for this northbound I-65 closure. So to get around it, northbound 465 to westbound I-865. But as you can see right here, traffic moving very slowly. Let's take a look at that on our live in.dot traffic camera. Traffic is stop and go all the way past 86th Street, so even down to 71st Street. So keep it in mind if it's part of your drive. Allow yourself that extra time.
It is Throwback Thursday time, and it's the final Throwback Thursday where we get to pay tribute to an RTV6 legend while he is still with us.
You may know by now that Derek Thomas is retiring. His final day with us is tomorrow. So we've been looking back at some of the best stories he has done over his 40 years here at RTV6.
Today we go back to Derek's first year in Indy, 1979, and a story that might infuriate you. It's about how the price of concessions at the movies are going through the roof. But check out what they mean by through the roof 40 years ago.
Already Already, according to the National Association of Concessionaires, only 1 out of 6 movie patrons buy refreshments. That's not difficult to understand when consumers are faced with popcorn that comes in big tubs and carries a $1.50 price tag, candy bar that costs upward from 50 cents, and 24 to 32-ounce soft drinks that claw their way into the $1 range.
$1? Oh my goodness. Those are some ridiculous prices, right? Well, also in 1979, a beer at a Pacers game at Market Square Arena would set you back. You ready for this, Nicole? I don't know if you'd be able to spring this. $1.25.
Woo! I don't know either. Well, you can see much more of this story right now on the indychannel.com/history. That is where you can find all of our other Throwback Thursday stories.
Coming up, a police chase ends in death. Next on Good Morning Indiana, what we know so far about the crash and chase that happened overnight on the east side.
And one debate down and one more to go. 10 more Democratic presidential candidates take the stage tonight. Coming up today on Good Morning America, the top moments from last night's debate involving the other 10 major candidates. It's 6:49. We'll be right back.
Weekdays at 9 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now is 6:52. I'm Meredith Barrick.
And I'm Nicole Griffin. We're working for you on this Thursday morning, helping you get your day started.
We have all your top stories covered, and Lena Martella is keeping a close eye on traffic. We do want to start things off with Todd Clausen and this hot Thursday forecast.
Yeah, we're going to be back in the upper 80s later on this afternoon. This morning, a little more in the way of cloud cover compared to yesterday, but honestly, that's not a bad thing as we get into the afternoon hours. We'll thin these clouds out, so there'll be some times where the sun dips behind the clouds, gives you a little bit of shade to deal with some of this heat and humidity. We're in the 60s and 70s here already this morning, and all those temperatures will warm very quickly once the sun continues to get higher above the horizon. We had a few spotty showers in northern locations, and it's not out of the question there could be a sprinkle this morning up towards Lafayette. Otherwise, partly cloudy today, warm and muggy for everybody. High temperatures in the upper 80s. Heat index values today will be in the low 90s.
We continue to follow breaking news this morning from the city's east side. That's where a police chase that started overnight turned deadly. The brief chase started at 21st and Sherman and ended at 21st and Dearborn when the suspect crashed into a power pole. The suspect's car then caught fire and live ammunition started going off inside of the car. This forced that officer to take cover. The suspect was pronounced dead at the scene.
Alyssa, thank you. Also breaking this morning, 2 people are in the hospital after being shot near 25th and Gale on the city's northeast side. The scene unfolded just west of Sherman Drive around 12:30 this morning. Police tell us a man and a woman were shot inside a home in that area. They were both taken to Eskenazi Hospital and are expected to recover.
Crews continued to search at Carroll County Creek for a 4-year-old boy swept away by high water more than a month ago. Owen Jones was swept away in Deer Creek in Delphi back on May 23rd. State conservation officers say the search has been difficult because the creek's levels have been constantly changing with recent rainfall. Aaron.
Good morning. We are at Belzer Scout Camp where we are learning about how you can be better prepared as you head out into nature. So June is National Camping Month and Scouts give us some tips. Make sure that you tell people where you're going camping and when you'll be back. Pack an emergency kit including any medications needed and 3 to 5 days worth of water. And when you do pick a site, make sure that it's in an open space away from any low-lying branches and have your tent at least 10 to 15 feet away from your fire. And make sure to put out that fire with water or sand before you leave the site or go to bed. And if you're cooking, especially with a Dutch oven like they do here, wear safety gloves and keep kids away since temps can reach more than 400 degrees. And if it's your first time camping, build your way up to a more advanced sites, or Scouts say go with a more experienced family. Back to you in the studio.
Aaron, thank you. A woman is mourning the loss of her son for a second time. Cheryl Brown lost an urn containing her son's ashes. 31-year-old Christopher Morton died in September of last year. Brown says she left home Tuesday with a small blue and silver urn inside a Kroger bag in her purse. She later noticed the bag was missing. She hopes someone sees this story and is able to help her track down that bag.
We're getting a sneak peek at the new food coming to the Indiana State Fair. New items include Hoosier Hometown Hash, 2 grilled hash brown patties with Munster pepper jack, cheddar, and Swiss cheese, Angry pretzel poppers rolled in diced jalapenos and served with jalapeno ranch dressing, and bison hush puppies. We do have pictures of all the new State Fair foods on our website, theindychannel.com.
Some firefighters in Zionsville saved a life thanks to an alert neighbor and special equipment for pets. A person bicycling nearby noticed a fire at a home on Iron Gate Drive Wednesday morning. Crews rescued a cat inside the house and used an oxygen mask to help her catch her breath. Elena.
A lot of problems up on our northwest side right now for your morning drive. So we have this block, the one lane block, northbound 465, that ramp to I-865. So keep in mind that's part of our detour route for this northbound 465 closure between 465 and I-865 to get around and go to northbound 465 to westbound I-865.
It's a mild and muggy morning here across the area with partly cloudy skies, and we'll work more in the way of sunshine in throughout the morning hours, and we'll just call it partly cloudy this afternoon. Just a small chance of a stray storm popping up. Highs anywhere from about 85 to 90 degrees today, depending where you are. Then a stretch of 90-degree heat potentially Friday all the way through Monday. And again, just isolated storm chances, lots of hazy sunshine in between.
All right, Todd, thank you. We're back in 25 minutes and throughout Good Morning America with news, weather, and traffic updates. We'll leave you here with a live look overlooking the Circle City. Have a great day.